Buongiorno! Yes, I am in my car, and that means that I am going to Milano today to do some shopping and sniffing of new fragrances and also some old ones. I'm not sure if I'm going to buy anything. There is kind of a sale going on at the Religieuse, a department store, but I am not sure if it's more convenient for me to buy it in store or then do an order online and just get all the stuff that I want. I have so many perfumes that I am dying to test, like for example Magenta Tanzanite and Indigo Tanzanite. I just can't wait to test these two. You know my passion for the Armani Prive line, and these two look just amazing, so I can't wait. So I'm going now to the station and I will see you in a moment. So I just arrived. I know it doesn't look very good because they are doing some work at Piazza San Babila. So I am heading now to Sephora and see if they can squeeze me in for an appointment for benefit. I need to do my eyebrows desperately. So maybe someone cancelled or something, so maybe they can squeeze me in. So I am heading there first and then to La Rinascente. It's relatively quiet because it's early in the morning, so not a lot of people are on the street, and this is how I like it. I don't like when it's too crowded, especially if I'm going shopping. It just puts me off when I see a lot of people in a place. Anyway, and just around the corner there is Sephora. I don't believe that I am going to get an appointment, but let's try. As expected, I didn't get an appointment, but across the street there is Zara. So I am going into Zara to see if they have any new fragrances to smell, and then go to La Rinascente. I spent way too much time at Zara. I was in desperate need of some clothes because with my weight gain I have nothing to wear, so I went shopping, yes, and sniffing. I sniffed some fragrances, and the one that I was most excited about was the one, the dupe for Lost Cherry. It's actually sold out there. Everyone is buying that fragrance, so I couldn't test it, but I got two and got some clothes. Now I am going to La Rinascente and see if I can get Indigo Tanzanite and Magenta Tanzanite. Okay, I went down to get something to eat. I'm still at the department store and I'm slightly disappointed. I tried Magenta Tanzanite and Indigo Tanzanite and I don't know. I definitely like more Magenta Tanzanite, but it's so light. I mean, I said maybe she didn't spray enough, so I went again, and she actually sprayed all my hand and also all my clothes. I can't get it. I don't know. Maybe it's too busy here. I actually went outside even to see, maybe when sometimes it's a little bit overwhelming when you are in a big store because there's a lot of smells. So I went outside and tried, and I couldn't get it, and I don't know, I can get it now at an amazing price. I don't know what to do, because either I get Magenta Tanzanite and then end up with a very bad performing fragrance. I mean bad, like, maybe I'm an husband, I don't know, but if I can't get it, what's the point? I don't wear fragrances for other people, so I don't know. Or should I get Lubi Charm, which I actually like? So I said to myself, I will go and eat something and then decide what to do, because I don't know. Oh my god. So I finished. I'm not going to tell you what I bought at the end. It's going to be a surprise. and it took me a while. I made 4 rounds, couldn't decide which one to get, and at the end I decided, and yeah, I hope I just don't regret it. Anyway, now I am going to the metro and turning home. Okay, I'm back and I have here all the samples. I always put them in an envelope so I can keep the smell as much as I can, so I can give you a real idea of how this fragrance smells. I didn't count them. I don't know how many fragrances I tested today, and if you hear any noise, I'm so sorry. My son is playing outside. And also, I'm sorry about the lighting. Honestly, I'm a little bit tired, so I just want to share with you my thoughts about these fragrances before it's too late or I am too tired. So let's start by these. And these are all from Christian Louboutin. I don't know if I'm pronouncing his name correctly. I know I should, but honestly, I am not into this brand in general when it comes, I mean, to shoes and so on. So I don't know how to pronounce it correctly. Anyway, I actually have a video on first impression on the Lubi world. I did not post it yet because I wanted to include also a full review on it. But since then, they came out with 3 new fragrances. So the new 3 fragrances are all inspired by the desert. If you are Egyptian or you are into Egyptology, history, you will know. All 3 are quite Middle Eastern fragrances, but westernized, if that makes any sense. So the first one is LoubiLuna, and this is quite masculine. It has, to my nose, especially in the opening, you get a lot of papyrus, which actually suits the theme of these fragrances. There is also vetiver. It's quite a woody fragrance and a soft woody, so it's not a woody fragrance that is too strong or too opulent. None of these fragrances are actually. So I was not really impressed with this one. It has some sweetness though. I don't know what, but there is some sweetness here, but just a touch. So it's definitely for me a masculine fragrance. So that was LoubiLuna. Next one is actually my favorite, and that is Loubiprince, the one that comes in the serpent. And this is quite a warm ambery fragrance. And now I can't smell the tonka bean, but in the store I got a lot of tonka bean. It has a little bit of this almost dusty feeling that some tonka bean fragrances have. It's ambery, it's slightly spicy with a hint of woody note. I can't distinguish what notes are in this fragrance except of the tonka bean. The tonka bean was quite predominant. I immediately recognized it. And I think there is some cinnamon, there is some spicy note. I was actually debating if I should get this one, so that says something. Next one is Lubi Charm, and this one is rose, and it's a fruity rose. I don't know, in the store she said there is no berries in this fragrance. I distinctively smell berries. It has also patchouli, but it's mainly rose. And what I personally smell is red berries. So yeah, this one is nice. I like it. It's kind of an oriental rose. So it's not your fresh or your delicate rose. It has more of a bite to it. So I think there must be also geranium. Geranium has like a slightly minty touch in it. So this one seems to be very, very good in performance, but I didn't test it on skin, so I don't know, but at least on paper it does. So these were the 3 new fragrances from Christian Louboutin. Sorry again for the pronunciation. Let's get to the next envelope and see what we have. Yes, I went by Le Labo. Of course, the first one that I was so intrigued to smell is Santal 33. And I hate it. I can see the hype. I don't understand why is this fragrance so popular. It's very masculine in my opinion. This is number one. It's leathery. Yeah, it's sandalwood, but not a creamy one. And even if I consider this a fragrance for men, it's not so unique, so I don't understand the hype. The next one that I tested was Thé Noir, and this one I actually like. It's quite a unique black tea fragrance. What I mostly get is some citruses, black tea, and also fig. At first I didn't get the figs, but after a while there is some fruity sweetness that came out, and I distinctively smell fig in it. Quite nice. I would consider this fragrance suitable for both who love tea fragrances and who loves fig fragrances. Quite nice. I tested it on skin, but it didn't last very long. But I mean, this is only one spray. So one spray, 3 hours is quite promising, let's say. The next one that I tested is Thé Matcha. And this is your typical tea fragrance. Again, in all the 3 fragrances, there is some sharpness. I guess all 3 of them have this almost like vetiver, like some woody note. Not patchouli, woody or vetiver. And here I also get it. And honestly, I also smell some figs here. It's not so predominant like the one that like Thé Noir was. It was quite predominant. It was a little bit sharp, so it's almost like a fig leaf. Here it's a little bit more of a like a fig fruit, but it's very light, very in the background. Yeah, I like also this one. Is it a full bottle worthy? I mean, no. Thé Noir is the one that I may test again on my skin, especially during summer, and see if I like it or not, or if it's worth it to have a full bottle. Let's get to Serge Louboutin, and I tested 2 fragrances. I will do my best pronouncing these. The first one is Religieuse. Oh my god, it's very difficult for me to pronounce it. And this is a jasmine fragrance, like typical of Serge Louboutin. And Serge Louboutin fragrances in general, at least to me, are very difficult to love at first sniff. Especially their opening is always a little bit challenging to me. And then I fell in love with them. And the same goes for this one. When I first tested it, I was, it was quite animalic. Now, and also in the store, I started to like it. It's a very clean, cold jasmine. This is how I would describe it. Definitely musky, quite simple, but yet fascinating in a way. Is it a full bottle worthy? I don't think so. I have so many jasmine fragrances. It's not like a jasmine that I have already, but it's not special enough. Now, the second one, very, very difficult to pronounce. La Dompteuse Encagee. And this is a yellow flower fragrance, but quite in the style of Serge Louboutin. I actually asked the lady the notes of this one. She told me it's frangipani, ylang-ylang, and almond. When you hear these notes, you would imagine a very warm, sweet, you know, tropical fragrance. It's not. When she told me the notes, yeah, I could get it. In almond, I don't get very much, actually. The frangipani, I definitely get. But it's such a light, fresh frangipani. It's a very charming fragrance, I have to say. And I'm quite intrigued by it. I wish I had a sample of it so I can test it, because this is a fragrance that I would maybe consider buying. As you all know, I am not into tropical fragrances, so they have to have something fresh and light in them. I don't like this very cloying, sweet coconut scent and lotion fragrances, like, for example, Guerlain Terracotta. And this one is right up my alley. Actually, I would say I smell also some jasmine in it, but it's not listed in the notes. Please tell me in the comments down below if you have this fragrance, if you have tried it, and what do you think about it, because yeah, As you can see, I'm quite intrigued by it. Now, let's go to Juliette Has Gone. I have two fragrances. Unfortunately, I don't have still the new one, Magnolia something. I don't remember now. So the two that I tested are Musc Invisible. I'm not a fan. It's definitely floral, and I would say I smell Hydian. Not sure if it's in the notes, but this is what I smell. It's not the musk that I like. Let's put it like that. So this one was a big no for me. Next is a Lili Fantasy. This one is quite interesting. And there is something about this fragrance that drives me crazy. And I know what it is. It has ambroxan. I love ambroxan. It's very addictive. The lighting is driving me crazy today. Returning to this fragrance, it's quite strange. I know there is bubblegum in the notes, and maybe this is the strange aspect of it. It's not that I smell bubblegum. I mostly smell ambroxan and white flowers. It's not that I distinctively smell Lili though, and still it has some freshness, so I guess there is also musk in it. I don't know if I should love or hate this fragrance. It's so strange. I still am on the fence about it. I don't know. It's really a unique fragrance. Let's put it like that. Let's move to Tom Ford. So let's start with the one that I have on my wish list to test, and that is Lost Cherry. Yes, I finally really tested it. This is the only sour cherry fragrance that I have tested that doesn't smell extremely synthetic. And it smells like the heart of a sour cherry, you know, like the flesh that is around the seed. I don't know why, but this is how it smells, especially in the opening. You definitely get also the boozy touch. And it's definitely a gourmand, but it's not too sweet. It's sweet, but bearable, at least to me. So I actually like it. I know everybody says that the longevity is really bad on this fragrance. So I don't know, I have to test it. If it's an okay performance, I think this one is going to go on my wish list to buy this time. Now let's move to another one, and that is Santel Blush. Yeah, I moved a little bit, sorry. I would say a better version or a refined fragrance for someone who loves Santal 33 is Santel Blush from Tom Ford. Again, it's a little bit too masculine to me. It's dry. I think there is cumin also here, and I'm not a fan of cumin. Vetiver, patchouli. I don't know. This is a very well blended fragrance, let me tell you. And it's quite classy. So this one I would recommend actually. Maybe for me, not for a woman, but for a man. Next is Rose de Chine. And this one absolutely blew me away. It's so unique. It's a beautiful ambery rose. It's gorgeous. It's nothing like what I expected it to smell like. I actually remember the notes of this one because it's a new release, so I remember there was myrrh in it. And I love myrrh, so this is maybe why I am so blown away by it. It's gorgeous. This one I definitely will test on my skin next time and decide if it's a full bottle worthy or not, because like first impression, I'm sold on it, let me tell you. Then I tested a Rose d'Amalfi, and this is more of your typical rose. No, I wouldn't say typical rose. It's a very light, solar, fresh rose. It has a bright opening, and now it's quite powdery. And this one I don't like very much. When I first researched the 3 new fragrances for Tom Ford, I expected Rose d'Amalfi to be my favorite. And it's not, it's actually Rose de Chine. I didn't test Rose de Russie. I knew that I am not going to buy any Tom Ford that day, so I didn't want to waste their time. I know it's ridiculous, but this is how I am. Anyway, now let's move to the very anticipated Armani Prive Magenta Tanzanite and Indigo Tanzanite. And as you saw, I was quite disappointed. Did I change my mind? Yes and no. So for some reason, I could not smell Magenta Tanzanite. She then sprayed my whole chest area with the fragrance, so on clothes. She sprayed it again on my hand. I couldn't smell the fragrance, but when I entered my car, I suddenly got a whiff of it. It makes me worried to buy this fragrance, because if the problem is in me and I am anosmic to this fragrance for some reason, I don't know if I should buy it, you know? So let me tell you about the fragrance. It's quite a sweet one, but not cloying. It's very light. So if you read the notes, you will find there is tobacco, there is cinnamon, there is coffee. So a lot of very potent, strong notes, but the fragrance is not strong at all. Light in the sense that it wouldn't overwhelm people and also you. And I'm afraid that I am not the best person to review it because of how anosmic I was to it at first. Anyway, what I smell is it's vanilla, tobacco and cinnamon. And it smells like an Arabic coffee with cardamom and milk. This is how this fragrance smells. But I would highly recommend you test it, because when I got it, and I got whiffs of it, I actually really liked it. So this is a fragrance that I have to test more of, because yeah, it's for me quite a strange experience. So now let's move to Indigo Tanzanite. And let me tell you, at first I didn't like it. To me, when I first smelled this fragrance, I got a lot of tolo balsam. So to me, Indigo Tanzanite is more of a complex experience than Magenta Tanzanite. So I was not anosmic to that one, and I tested on my skin. It's one of these fragrances that takes you on a journey. So the beginning is something, the mid dry down, it goes to another direction, and in the very dry down you get something else. But the one thing that I have to say, the notes, if you read the notes, it doesn't really represent how this fragrance smells, at least to me. So you have milk, you have heliotrope, you have almond and benzoin and labdanum. So I expected this fragrance to be powdery, lactonic, you know, and it's not. It has a lot of tolo balsam, and it definitely ruins this fragrance for me. I get something a little bit of the heliotrope, but it's not as strong as I would have liked it to be. I wanted more heliotrope and almond and benzoin, and it's not. So this one is again a fragrance that, although I find quite nice, I have to test again. And it's one of the fragrances that I wouldn't recommend blind buying. So I'm a little bit disappointed, because I wanted, you know, to have an opinion on these two, like a strong opinion, and I don't. So sorry. I did test a fragrance from the C range that she told me is going to be discontinued, and that is C Le Parfum. You can't find it everywhere, at least here in Italy. Again, I don't like it. I am not really into the C range, let me be honest, but I would say this is my second favorite. It's totally different. It's more deep. Definitely has the DNA of the C range. So you have the black currant, you have the patchouli, and also the vanilla. But there is something about it, makes it quite mature, borderline private collection, you know. So it's not your typical designer fragrance, if that makes any sense. So another C fragrance that is going to be discontinued. Now the last fragrance that I tested is from Jo Malone, and this is Velvet Rose and Oud, and it's exactly like the name. It's a very dark velvety red rose with oud. Is it my absolute favorite rose oud combination? No, but I would say it's one of these rose oud combinations that are mass pleasing, that a lot of people may like. It's almost a safe introduction to Honestly, it doesn't stand out if we compare it with Oud Silk Mood or Oud Satin Mood or other rose oud like Rose d'Arabie from Armani Prive, Miller Harris Scherzo. But I will definitely test more this fragrance because I want to do a video on the best rose oud combination fragrances. So yeah, this one is not bad, but it's not my favorite. And with that, I finished everything. Tell me in the comments down below what is a fragrance from the ones that I mentioned that you have tested, that you like, or that you are really intrigued about. As usual, after this, I am going to insert a video which I will film another day where I unbox everything that I bought. And actually, while I was filming this video, I received a package with some amazing fragrances, so I will include them. So technically, I didn't buy them in Milano, but who cares? So if you want to know about the fragrances that I bought, that I just received, then please keep on watching. Here I am. It's next day and it's time to unbox what I bought. Let's start with the least exciting one, and it's from Guerlain. I actually wanted another one. This is Orange Soleil. As you all know, Nettare di Sole was on my wish list and they had it only in the big format, and I honestly don't need 125 ml. It's very difficult for me to finish a fragrance. So I went with my second best, and like with all the Aqua Liguria fragrances, the name tells you how it smells. So this one is a solar orange. Here is the typical Guerlain bottles, and it's quite a fresh orange. To me, it's more of blood orange, so it has this bite to it. It actually now reminds me a little bit, not totally, of Orange Sanguine from Atelier Cologne, one of my absolute favorite orange fragrances. That one smells as if you have in your hands a fresh cut blood orange. This is a little bit sweeter. Not that this is a sweet fragrance, but it has a slight sweet touch to it. And also it has more of a green touch. So imagine Orange Sanguine is like an authentic fresh cut blood orange. And this one smells a little bit like as if you are walking with orange, blood orange on the tree. So you get this petitgrain note. I don't know if it is in the note. I smell a little bit of petitgrain. And you have in your hands a blood orange juice. I hope I'm making sense. So now let's get to Christian Louboutin. And the fragrance that I bought is here. And it is Loubi Rouge. If I did upload the buying guide for Christian Louboutin fragrances, you will know this is my absolute favorite one. It's a very heavy bottle. So they give you here, you see, a cap so you can take off this one. It's still very heavy, but not as much. I know a lot of people love the packaging. I honestly don't like it at all. It's over the top and no. I'm sorry. It's quite tacky. Anyway, how does this fragrance smell? It's quite elegant and it's mostly a warm, spicy iris. There is vanilla, there is cardamom, and iris in the notes. These are the three notes that are mentioned on Fragrantica. And if you go on Fragrantica, you will find that people say that it reminds them of Bois d'Argent, of Lune Feline from Atelier des Ors, Changing Constance from Penhaligon's. And it smells actually nothing like any of the three. It has this classy, airy vibes that Bois d'Argent has. I will agree to that, but they are totally different fragrances. And this is quite feminine, Bois d'Argent is totally unisex. It does have the cardamom that is, and the vanilla that is very famous in Lune Feline, but they are totally different. Lune Feline is extremely high quality. This one doesn't. So if you have already watched my buying guide, you will know that I find that this line is totally overpriced. You are paying for the packaging, which I actually don't like. So why did I buy this fragrance at the end? Because it's very, very difficult for me to find an iris that I like, that I can tolerate. Iris is definitely one of the notes I find difficulties to appreciate. So this is quite a unique fragrance to my collection. Then I absolutely love cardamom. And here the cardamom is quite predominant. And the whole experience that this fragrance gives me is just an elegant put together lady that is going out for shopping. This is how this fragrance smells to me. And I have nothing like it in my collection. And also I got this one with more than 30% off. So I did not pay the original price. I would never pay that price for this fragrance. Just completely honest here. So I find that what I paid at the end is how much I would pay for this fragrance and not more. So these were only the two fragrances that I actually bought. But as I said, when I arrived, I got delivered a package. So I got 3 fragrances. Let's start with this one. This is Valentino Donna Aqua, a discontinued flanker of Valentino Donna. This is actually a blind buy. This one, if I remember correctly, is totally different. It's more fruity. I think there was almond. Oh yeah, there is definitely almond here. I didn't show you the bottle, like the typical Valentino studs. Beautiful bottle. It's quite sweet, but it's a sweetness that I think I can tolerate. So I don't know, I will still have to play with this one. But yeah, almonds are quite predominant and I'm obsessed a little bit with almonds lately. I don't know. I go through phases when it comes to fragrances. So now currently I am on an almond phase. I really, really like it. It's quite sweet. So I would say this is a fruity floral and there is definitely jasmine here. So I will test this fragrance further and then decide if I will commit to a bit bigger bottle since this one is discontinued. The second one is also a discontinued one. This is Narciso Eau de Parfum, so the original one. Here is the bottle, very similar to Poudre. And if I remember correctly, this was quite an elegant, mature, musky floral. Oh yeah, it definitely is. It has, again, this signature musk from Narciso. It's also quite similar to Poudre, but Poudre is more floral, a little bit powdery. This is definitely a heavy musky fragrance. And if I remember correctly, this one had stellar performance. So I still have to play with it, as I said, and most probably you will see me do a comparison between this one and the new one when it comes out. Because I'm a fan of Narciso, as you all know, so I will definitely buy the new flanker. So I would say if you are a fan of this fragrance, get yourself a backup bottle because it's discontinued and that one was even harder to find than the Valentino Donna Aqua actually. Now let's get to the most exciting fragrance. Miller Harris Scherzo. Yes, I finally got it. This is a fragrance that is on my wish list now for quite a while, and here is the fragrance and the body wash, and this is the most elegant, intoxicating, slightly sexy rose wood combination. So in the opening it's, as I said, quite wood. It's a little bit, you know, animalic, but yeah, it's already getting warmer, it's getting sweeter, the rose starts to shine, and it's not a sweet fragrance, but it's so beautifully blended and balanced. You can't even imagine. It's very difficult for me to describe it. To me, this is not a sexy fragrance. It's more of an alluring fragrance. fragrance. Very captivating. A beautifully done rosewood combination. Absolutely stunning. Highly, highly recommended, but it's not blind buy safe. Now let's get to Zara. I tested all of the new, I don't know how it's called, the City collection, I think. Also in collaboration with Jo Malone. And I decided to buy two just in a roller ball. I have here Fashionably London and Magnificently Dubai. I also liked Madrid and Paris, but then I decided that they are too similar to other fragrances. I will get to that in a minute. So let's start with Fashionably London. It's sort of this musky rose, let's say. I smell some woody touch to it. And I also saw that people compare it to Delina and these like very fruity, rosy fragrances. I don't get it. It's mostly a musky rose with a hint of sweetness, a hint of woodiness. I don't know, my nose picks up some woody notes. Is it mind-blowing? No, none of them actually are. They are quite nice, easygoing, beautiful fragrances for the price. I mean, they are not bad. Now let's get to Magnificently Dubai. And this has more of an experience, let's say, if we compare it to Fashionably London. When I first smelled it, I got a lot of spicy notes. However, it does not remain for long and you start to get a little bit of the leather. And honestly, I did not test this fragrance enough to have an opinion on it. I mostly bought it because I liked the opening so much. So I said, this seems like a fragrance that will change, that I have to test on my skin. So I will just get a roller ball and see how it works. I also checked the notes for this one and I remember there was saffron and nutmeg. I definitely get more green touch in it. The saffron I definitely get, but there are more notes than the ones that are declared. Now the rest, let me say, they were quite nice. I will just give you a general idea of the range. Paris is extremely similar, at least first impression, like a dupe of Irrésistible from Givenchy. I also liked very much the Madrid one, I don't remember the name now, and that was quite a fresh citrusy fragrance, but it didn't blow me away. Next one that also I really liked the opening, at least, was the Venice one. But like the Dubai one, I found it a fragrance that I have to play with. So I didn't buy it, but I will test it further if I have the chance. There were two other that were okay, let's say. That was the Shanghai one and Tokyo one. I found the Tokyo one, and I don't remember how the notes, it was a little bit floral, this is what I remember, that it was quite fitting for Tokyo. So I personally never went to Tokyo. I went to Japan, but I never went to Tokyo. But if we take Japan in general, it was quite fitting, I found. Then the Shanghai one was, I don't know. The Seoul one was very heavy on the mimosa, and in my opinion it was not a well-balanced mimosa, so I didn't like it. The one that I absolutely hated was the New York one. It was almost stinky. I don't know, I did not like it at all. It was really, really, really bad. So that one was a no for me. So, and that was it. That was all the fragrances that I tested on Zara. I also went to Mango and I was surprised that Mango has fragrances. So I got the whole collection, that ones that I found in a small size, and I will do a dedicated review on them coming very soon. So definitely stay tuned. So that was it. These were all the fragrances that I bought and that I tested in Milano. I hope you liked this video, and if you like more of them, I will leave in the description down below a playlist of all of them. I have, I think, 5 or 6 now on my channel, so definitely check them. Also check the description down below for more details on some fragrances or buying guides on some brands that I mentioned in this video. If you liked this video or you found it helpful, please like, and subscribe to my channel. Also, don't forget to hit that notification bell so you will get notified when I upload any new video. Thanks a lot for watching and see you next time. Ciao!